Welcome to Where Passion Meets Purpose. I'm your host, Jen Mentesana. On this show, we help busy moms and entrepreneurs find more passion and purpose in their daily lives through inspiring stories and interviews. Welcome back, everyone, to Where Passion Meets Purpose. I'm your host, Jen Mentesana. I am so excited to introduce you guys to my next guests. Amy P. Kelly and Julie Nee are here today on the show, and I am so excited about all they have going on. They are two incredible entrepreneurs that are also authors. I think they've written 3 books between them, and they are promoting this movement about You Grow Girl and really empowering women to step into that growth level of their lives. And they speak all over the country. They work for the John Gordon companies, speaking on behalf of John Gordon's books as well. They are 2 powerhouse women, and I just cannot wait to dive into their stories for you guys today and get you a little inspired. So thank you so much, ladies, for being on the show. I'm so grateful that you're here.
We are
so
grateful to
happy
be here.
Yes.
Yay. And this is so fun. This is my first interview having more than one guest. So I'll try to be really good about making sure like I speak to one or, one of you at a time so we don't talk over each other. But I'm just so grateful for you both for being here. And let me just pull this book out. Where is it? Okay.
We've got them too, girl.
Yep. You Grow Girl, your amazing book that the two of you wrote together. It is such an incredible book. I literally, the moment I got it, I read it on the plane on the way home from Dallas, the first time I met you both, and I could not put it down. It is so easy to read, and you guys just have such incredible acronyms and ways to explain things, and it's going to be so helpful for women, especially who are just starting out in their journey of growth and maybe entrepreneurship or stepping into that role that they're meant to be doing in this lifetime. So I always say to people, especially when I just held a retreat or in my workshops, I always say, start small, just take little bites out of this process. Don't throw yourself into something completely overwhelming. But a book like this is really helpful for those who are just starting out. So we'll talk more about the book, but I wanted to kind of get into a little bit about your backgrounds and how you guys got started in doing what you're doing. I know you both have backgrounds in corporate America, and then you kind of transition into this, motivational speaking, growth mindset world. And I'm just curious how you guys did that, how you got started. So why don't we start with you, Julie, and then we can have Amy jump in.
Sure. Corporate America is my background. I spent about 25 years between an advertising career right out of college and then almost 20 years with the Hershey Company in sales and sales leadership. And in that process, I was leading a big team all over the US, and I got exposed to John Gordon's work and specifically his book, The Energy Bus. And I used that work with my team at Hershey. And what I saw is that my team really learned how to thrive, not only when the business was good, but when it got a little bit harder and the chips were down. And then I was really sold on John. So I started reaching out to him and reading additional books and reaching out again and building a relationship over a couple of year time period. And it after doing that for a couple of years and just really getting his work ingrained in my mindset and seeing how it worked with my team, I just knew I wanted to share it in a bigger way. So I left Hershey and have been working with John for about 9 years, both speaking, it started out just speaking about the energy bus. And then it was, hey, can you do a workshop? And can you do a talk on this? And could you create this? And how about some training? And let's create some training. And all those things were happening in collaboration with John. And then Amy and I really started working together, especially, we've been working together now for about 8 years, but especially over the last 3 to 5, I would say. And we have created so much content for John. And we really learned during that process that we're good at creating things and we're even better at creating them when we're working together. And that's what really inspired us to create You Grow Girl together. And I'll let Amy share a little bit more about how the whole idea started for You Grow Girl. But we just knew we wanted to do it together. And John was very supportive all the way through with the project as well.
That is so awesome. And before we jump to Amy, I just want to touch on something you just said because I just did a podcast about getting in the right rooms and connecting with the right people and surrounding yourself with the right people. And the fact that you kind of were inspired by John Gordon and what he was doing, and you were teaching his teachings on the energy bus through to your company. It's kind of like once you find that kind of that mentor or that person that's just pushing you to level up your life, it does put you in a new space for growth. And so it's just the fact that you just touched on that. I just wanted to kind of highlight that for a second, how important it is that you surround yourself with the right people that are helping you step into that place. And then the fact that you and Amy kind of started down this journey together is like you're leveling each other up every day, I'm sure. So Amy, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, thanks, Jen. And that's a really astute observation. I think one of many things that we value in our working relationship, our friendship, our partnership is that we truly are both committed to this learner posture and growth. And we love it. We say it in the book. It's like we're obsessed in the best way. And we're not going to shy or shrink back from this obsession of just the power in learning, growing, getting better, and seeing other people do the same thing. And so we both really experienced that personally. We love to see other people experience it. My background in corporate America was varied. And before this most recent work with John Gordon, I was the vice president of human resources for a couple different organizations that helped enterprise technology companies do business with the government, and primarily cloud computing solutions, data innovation, cybersecurity. And we were really heavily focused on helping to train people fast. And part of our employee experience was that we had a dynamic and market recognized corporate university and just a great place to work. And that was my responsibility within the team of executives. So loved doing that, loved being a part of a couple successful sales of organizations in that space. And through that, I met John because someone gave me his book. And ultimately, just like Julie said, we got to work together. We got to partner on the Energy Bus Field Guide. He asked me to help write with him. And then, getting to write and do different projects with Julie and with John. It's all about growth. So the idea for You Grow Girl was, we've talked about it over the course of my career. I wasn't really focused on a particular gender being my area of support in business or organizations. It was everybody. And all over time, though, as you get to be a 50 plus year old woman, you realize some of the lessons watched, observed, not all mine. And certainly I haven't learned all the things, but I've learned quite a few things. When we get together and support each other, people are empowered through that. And You Grow Girl was an idea for a journal. And when Julie and I shared the idea about just the power of journaling and growth, John is the one who said, you have to write the book first. And that's how it all kind of started rolling. And since then, it's been women's affinity groups and corporate wellness programs and women's leadership development, and as well as men and women programs. It's just been exciting.
That's so awesome. I'm just thinking right now about my own group of women entrepreneurs that I meet with every month. And I'm thinking, gosh, how I'm going to get you guys on a virtual, we're going to do some sort of workshop or something, because this is so beneficial to so many women and of course men too. But I know that this is particularly this concept is particularly targeted towards women. And it's just so beneficial because you guys make it so easy. And it's like these easy, especially with the journal along with the book, it's almost like a great thing to do as a book club and like working together through a process. And I just love what you guys are doing. I think you're inspiring so many women and doing such amazing things. And I love how John encouraged you to write the book, because the book is what's really going to get you out there, right? Like the book is kind of the guideline for the journal. And it's the thing that's going to really get you out there to be able to impact more people. And I think it's where people start. Sometimes they have to pick up a book in order to start a journey. And then that journey from reading the book leads them to the process every day of journaling. And then that leads them to maybe listening to a podcast or two. And next thing you know, they're on this journey of growth, right? And I love that so much. You guys are like, you're just so amazing. You're the dynamic duo, and I love everything that you're doing. So you do have a Women's Entrepreneurship Day coming up. I think it's November 19th, right? Yeah, which is next Tuesday. So hopefully this episode will air, and you guys will all have an opportunity to tune into that. And I'll definitely drop a link in the show notes to make sure that you can sign up for that if there's still room. Is there still room, ladies?
Absolutely,
Yes.
yes. We have plenty of room. And honestly, again, depending on timing and who tunes in when, it's going to be incredible. This event is not about us, it's about the people we're serving and the people who have decided that they want to grow. It doesn't have to be entrepreneurs, it can be any woman who wants to grow. And we have a lineup of speakers that is absolutely incredible. So we will be facilitating the process. We'll be bookending the beginning and the end, but really it's going to be these powerhouse speakers that will be serving the audience. And we want everyone to come and invite all the people that they want to invite, because we have plenty of room in our Zoom room for everyone. And just really hope that this hits in time for people to click that register button and just join us.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I will
it's
say this is
live, online, virtual event. So there are people coming from all over the world. We have some international guests that we already know are coming. And what you mentioned this, Jen, that's why I want to bring this up, is that, recently we did a corporate full day workshop for a group of about 100 people. And there were men there, and they said, we need to understand each other better. We're here to support the women that are, going through the growth process. And so our events are open to everyone, and our content is definitely geared toward women. And we salute the men and people who want to learn more about the individuals they work with to help them grow.
awesome. That's so awesome. And I love how you're just opening it up to anyone and everyone that wants to join, and there'll be content in there for everybody. A lot of the people who listen to this show are entrepreneurs, and a lot of them are just stay-at-home moms who are looking for, that growth or that next step, or trying to find their purpose beyond, maybe their kids, because their kids are getting older or moving on. So I have a lot of listeners on this show that are not necessarily like doing all the things yet, and they're looking for that next stage in their lives. And so I feel like this particular workshop will be really helpful for them, this particular event. And I do know some of the guests that you guys have on, it's going to be absolutely incredible. So we'll definitely drop the link in the show. So super excited about that. I wanted to kind of dive in a little bit deeper, if you guys don't mind, and have you each maybe tell us a story about maybe, because I know you both mentioned John and working in corporate America and how John Gordon kind of led you into this growth path. But usually we all have kind of a personal story that starts us out on this journey of, why go inward, why dig deep. Like we all kind of, I think, go through the motions of life, and we get to a certain point where something shifts in us, and something usually is the catalyst for change, or a decision to make a change. Do either of you have a story that you'd be willing to tell, to kind of share with us, what that was and how you got through it, and maybe how it, maybe launched you into this next path? You want to go ahead, Julie?
Oh, sure. Sorry,
Because
I
you're
was I
nodding
was
your
trying to
head. So
point
I'm
you
like,
at it.
yep,
I
you
wasn't
go,
pointing
you
at
go,
Amy.
girl.
I I hope this is where you were going with this question, but I kind of received that question to be about sort of the career transition piece and taking the leap. So for me personally, I was in a space with my career at Hershey where I was, I guess, considered somewhat of a senior leader, and I was traveling every week and all over the place. And I had hit a point of pretty extreme burnout. And I was having conversations with my husband at a pretty regular cadence, like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And the conversations, started out with, well, maybe we could power through 10 more years. And I was like, did you just say 10 years and power through in the same sentence? And, we would have that conversation 6 months later and be, maybe we could power through 5 more years. And then 6 months later we would have it again, and maybe we could power through till the end of the year. So it was
Yeah.
one of those things where financially it was great, so it made a big difference. And to make a leap from that corporate America kind of vibe to 100% entrepreneurship and kind of building from zero, it was a big leap. And so I think I had to go inward a lot during that process. And especially when imposter syndrome or doubt, or who am I to be a speaker? And who am I to think that I can train people on leadership? Or who am I to create this workshop or this content or whatever? I really had to talk to myself a lot during those times. And I had to look at the record. Amy and I talk about this all the time, but just go back and look at the record of all the things that I had done inside my career and remind myself and my brain, oh yeah, you did train people for a couple of years on this, and oh yeah, you did speak on the national sales meeting stage a few times, and oh yeah, you did do this. And I just had to kind of really build up that belief, because it it was not easy. And I think it's important to share that with people who are listening to podcasts like this, because sometimes people think, oh, I'm going to make the career leap and I'm going to go from crushing it over here to crushing it over here. And that's exactly what I thought I was going to do. And I did not crush it for several years. So it took, at least kind of into that third year where things were just building ever so slowly, where we were having those conversations about, when do we turn back and go back to a corporate job, or do we keep building? And you know, had to hit some very minimal thresholds on that year three in order to keep going. But I think just we all have to be able to pour that belief into ourselves and look at what we have really accomplished, because it's more than we think. If you really do get quiet and look at it, it's more than we think. We've done a lot more than we think.
100%. And I just want to, touch on what you just said about like hitting that point where it's whether you're going to go back to the corporate job or keep going forward. What do you think the thing was that kept pushing you to say, I can do this and I'm going to make this work?
Well, I definitely think it was kind of just that reminding piece, but also it was listening to my gut instincts, because sometimes we ignore our gut and it's always there. And I would get these recruiters calling me, and I would get these job descriptions, and it would literally make me sick to my stomach. I was like, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. Just please don't make me do that again. And not him, but not to my husband, just to myself. Like, please, I don't want to do that again. And that was just my guidance, that I got to keep hustling and make this thing work, because I don't want to do that again. Not because I didn't love it for a couple of decades, but it just wasn't for me anymore. And I think we have to be true to ourselves and follow our gut and our instinct, and just keep, if we really believe it, we have to keep going. And we're doing that
100%.
again right now with You Grow Girl. We're building something, we're not even a year into You Grow Girl, and we're building something special, and it's going to be huge and awesome. And we're pouring that belief into each other every single day.
So amazing that you have each other to do that. I know a lot of entrepreneurs don't have a partner, and I have to say, like, this is why I lean on ladies like you, or the women in our mastermind who are going through similar things, because we do need that support from someone that constantly lifts us up, supports us, believes in us, and can be kind of the voice of reason when our brains are not necessarily aligning with our gut, right? Because that happens
Yeah.
a lot. You have to trust your intuition, like you were just saying. So what about you, Amy? Do you feel like there was a moment or a certain kind of situation that caused you to kind of shift into this growth mindset?
There are so many, for sure. And I will tell you, when it comes to the grow girl component of it, I loved, just like Julie said, I loved my corporate career. I mean, absolutely loved it. The CEOs that I worked for, I still admire them and think about all the things they've taught me and the impact that they still have on me every day when I think about, just the business strategy and the best practices that they shared. The reason I'm mentioning that is, there was a time when I felt, just purpose driven to serve in a different way. And that was really a big shift. The other thing was, it started early on, because I remember being, and I didn't recognize this until way later, but I have since gone back and said, I remember the feeling at this moment. I had done kind of a sales campaign when I was working in sales and marketing that had garnered a little bit of success. And so at the time, I think I was 22, maybe 23, and got asked to speak at a regional meeting. And it was a pretty basic thing, but it had just worked. And someone approached me right before I was about to go on stage, and I was nervous and said, I hope you know that you stole my idea, and I can't believe you're going on and you're going to present my idea. And it was about dropping kind of information and gifts off at clients. It wasn't,
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
any salesperson has done that. And it caught me off guard. I didn't know that person felt that way. I never had thought of it that way. I certainly, but my point is, I felt so sad in that moment because I I really thought everyone was like, wow, we're so excited that everyone's doing great things and each person's going to get to share. And I just remember thinking, as much as I have so many times when I've made mistakes and not been as supportive as I've wanted to be of other people, I never wanted to make someone feel that way. And so you grow girl, as we talk about all the fear and the uncertainty and the doubt and the challenges that we have in all phases of our lives, just wanting to be one of many places where people can go and know that they're not going to be met with that type of adversity. And you really have to purpose yourself to that and create those communities, because when things are hard, it's easy to get frustrated. It's easy to think about things not as generous a spirit. And it's not because you don't want to help other people. You just get nervous. You get afraid. You've got to take care of your own family. And so just saying, all the business, all the life, it's really to reach out and to help other people. So You Grow Girl is an outlet for, providing the place for women to do that.
It's so amazing. I have been really focused lately on surrounding myself with primarily women, but people in general who show up to support one another, who do it out of the goodness of their heart, authenticity, really just people who build each other up instead of tearing each other down. And it, because it's easy in today's society to point fingers and blame, because there's a lot going on and there's a lot of frustration and there's a lot of, people feeling like, can I make it? I need to like fight for what's mine and that kind of thing. And I think it's so important to continue down this path of trusting and believing that being positive and supporting one another elevates all of us. And then there's plenty for everyone. It's like if you're constantly resonating in that energy, then it will only bring more for all, as opposed to this, fear and scarcity mentality where I have mine and you have yours, right? So I love, like, again, I mentioned the mastermind. Our mastermind group is all about just supporting each other, and we're all doing different things, but similar things at the same time. And instead of being like, oh, well, she's doing it this way and you're doing it that way. And it's more about, I love what you're doing. Keep going. How can I support you? Let's level each other up. Let's have each other on our podcast. Let's do what we can to create this community of support that allows each other to thrive. And it just feels better in general, right? Like it, and I do think, like, looking back on my sales career as well, I had a background in sales in the media business, and it's cutthroat, man. And everybody is out for themselves. And you're definitely not walking on their office going, how can I help you? Right. It's just not that mentality. But more and more, I think people are getting the memo that that's a better way to be, in a work environment, in a team environment. And I think what you guys are doing for women and organizations all over the country is just amazing, because it is a better way to live your life.
Yes.
So
And I
I,
think just regarding that piece on abundance, just we have to claim that, and we have to say it, and we have to remind ourselves of that all the time. And I know personally I do that all the time. I mean, I will say affirmations or something. Abundance is mine. Abundance is everywhere. There's more than enough for everyone. And just whether it's saying it or just having that knowing, because it's the truth. Every person is unique, and what everyone is delivering is different from what the person next to them is delivering. And we have to believe that there is enough for everyone as we go out and approach the world, because it's not a competition.
right.
It's just not. We're all bringing something different. And I think it was Amy who said in a recent conversation, we were talking about kind of clients who need different speakers and all the things. They're not going to bring the same speaker with the same message back every single year. So one year it might be you, one year it might be someone you know. But like, how cool to have that kind of referral network where we can all support each other in being there for our clients and serving them in different ways over time, right? There's enough for everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely feel like maybe I'm surrounding myself with people now who are just doing more of that, but I definitely feel there's more than enough to go around, and that we are all unique, amazing human beings, and no one is having exactly what you have to offer the world. And so by
Right.
you stepping up and being authentically you, there's no one that can compete with that. So you're no longer in competition with the person next to you. It's all about, oh, well, I'm the right fit at the right time in the right moment for this person, and trusting that the universe delivers on that level. So anyway, Amy, did you want I see you nodding your head, so I'm like, oh, she wants to jump in and add to that.
I am agreeing with you because I just I'm always trying to be just real. Is in the beginning I did think it was about like we're supposed to win, we're supposed to hit the goals, we're supposed to win, and it wasn't at other people's expense. But I didn't have the experience to temper things in the way that my heart really wanted to. But I just when I heard results, I heard win, and so learning that over time and having effective coaches and mentors and teaching allowed what's really inside of what I think is inside most human beings is that desire to win together, to elaborate on everyone's gifts. And so that's just, like you said, with the mastermind and with what we do with the books, it's bringing those unique things out of each other, and it elevates everyone.
Absolutely. So speaking of the book, do you guys have any particular, favorite chapter or favorite part of the book that you would want to highlight today for our listeners?
Well, I don't know that I would zero in on a favorite, but here's my favorite thing about the whole thing. And that is, we love acronyms. I think you mentioned that at the beginning. We love a good acronym. And the You Grow Girl book and journal are both built around an acronym called Cultivate. And that word cultivate has 9 letters. So there are 9 chapters in the book and journal. And each of those letters stands for something. And to say that there's a favorite, I might have a favorite this week, but my favorite might be different 2 weeks from now, depending on what I need, or 4 weeks from now, or 3 weeks ago. But these are some examples of what they are. So the C is create the environment for growth. And really, it all starts there, right?
Yes.
The U is unlock courage and confidence. And boy, we have talked to a lot of women who want to have more courage and confidence. The L is love yourself and others. And I won't go through all of them, but that just gives you an idea of what's inside some of these things. And it unlocks your power and the listener's power when we can look at these different ideas and thoughts and take advantage of the prompts. We call them seed planting pauses inside the book, but take advantage of the prompts and really reflect and answer those questions and write it down, because it is actually about growth. This isn't, it was cute that you said at the beginning, I read the whole book on my flight home, and I love that you did that. But what we want so much is application. Do the things, write down the questions, do the reflections, because we really want to help women grow. So I love that you loved the book, and I sure hope that it was a gift of growth in some way.
For sure. And I definitely went back, and then there were parts I was like, "Oh, I want to go and apply this." And so I
Yeah.
would definitely go back. And it's kind of like what I love about this book is you can read through it, and then it's a referral guide, right? So you can go back and use parts of the chapters like you said. There's certain weeks where you're feeling like love yourself and others is really speaking to you, and you can go back and reread that and just kind of allow that to sink in again. I mean, we all need to constantly reflect and remind ourselves. I just had this moment this morning where I was like, okay, I'm not feeling great right now about something that's bothering me. And I need to take 2 steps back and not dive into my day, because my day is going to be sideways if I don't go back and do the things that sets me up for the success in my day. So it's like having those little reminders and having your journal and your book by your bedside table, to like, I don't know, for me, it's like I'm aware enough where it pops in my head and I'll go, I need that chapter, or I need that moment of just journaling or whatever it is, because I know that what I'm going through is not in line with the things that are helping me be successful and happy. So, any thoughts on what Julie just said, Amy?
Well, I'll tell you, you're so right. It's constantly evolving favorites. There are two things that are sticking out for me right now when it comes to just loving how I've seen and heard people use this book and the journal. Julie knows we wrote it for people to be free in their growth. We didn't want to put too many constraints, and you can't take the 90-day plan out of the girl. So when you use the 9 letters in Cultivate, we put 10 days of opportunity to interact with that particular letter inside the journal. So 9 letters, 10 days, you've got 90 days of a growth transformation if you choose to use the book and the journal in that fashion, which is great for company groups. It's great for people who they're like, I don't know where to start. There are some people who said, well, can I turn to the back? Of course you can. And there are people that that went right to courage and confidence, and that's fine. I love knowing that if I start something at the end of a certain period, based on that continuous focus, that I have the research behind me that says, continuous application over that period is known to yield results. And so that's one of my faves parts of the design. And then another fave right now, is just that Julie and I both wrote in the introduction about Julie has a story about being in the basement. I have a story about living in a basement with my family after one of my businesses did not succeed, some really challenging lessons learned. And then I gave the book and journal to someone at a client, and she hadn't even read it yet. She sent me a thank you saying, right now I'm living in my parents' basement with my children, and I'm working on growing, and I can't wait to dig in. And I just thought, we've all been in the basement, right? It's just at some point, whether you go down there for your office or whether you store stuff in your basement or whether you don't have one and wish you had one because we've been down. And I like that Julie and I really, we tried to share those ups and those downs because no one is impervious to that. And that's my favorite thing about growing, is that we can help each other embrace the fact that growth is an up and down process and that there's no circumventing that. And so I like to see when people get freed up to share both their basements as well as their highlights and enjoy the Grow Girl journey.
Right. Well, I think that's what inspires people the most, is hearing, people who've kind of come out on the other side. And when I say that, it's a little tongue in cheek, because we're never not going through life, right? There's always going to be situations. Hopefully we're not back in the basement, but hopefully we've had that experience. And now the next time we go through something hard, we use that experience to then, catapult or propel ourselves out of that situation that we're going through. So it's so important and I love that you both shared that story. I remember that vividly. And just the fact that woman that you gave the book to resonated with that in that moment. I mean, I think that's what we're all here to do, is just connect with one person, make an impact on one person's life. And if that story was just for her in that moment, that's amazing. Right. And I think that's what we all aspire to do, is just make that connection. And hopefully our story impacts someone else to make a change in their life or learn from it and grow from it. So what you guys are doing is so amazing. I cannot wait. I'm going to figure this out. Maybe after the new year, we'll figure it out and we'll do some sort of Zoom or something with my group. I think you guys would be amazing. I hate that you're on the East Coast because I like in-person stuff, but we got to do what we got to do, right? God bless technology. That's right. We got to do what we got to do. But you're both so amazing. I'm so grateful for your time today. I want to do what I can to promote you, this book, the journal, your movement, Women's Entrepreneurship Day. Guys, please click on the link in the show notes or when I promote it online. And one more thing I just want to say, I love the size of this book. I think it fits perfectly into a stocking. I think my stocking, I'm going to definitely put one of my daughter's stockings. So hopefully she's not listening. But these, and the journal too. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer the first 5 people who share this episode, I'm going to offer to gift them one of your books and the journal. So that's going to be my offer, because I love you guys so much. This is truly a movement, and every woman out there who's looking to level up their lives, step into that power that they own already, but just doesn't know where to start. I want you guys to pick up this book. And also join Amy and Julie on Tuesday the 19th and for the Women's Entrepreneurship Day, and let's all grow together. It'll be amazing.
I love that. And I just want to say one more thing about that. I neglected to mention earlier, it is free. So no cost to anyone. Jump in, it's free. And also plug in with us on Instagram at You Grow Girl Community, or on our website. We do free Let's Grow Together sessions once a month online. And we just come together in community and we learn and grow together. And those are free. And you can plug into those on our website at you-grow-girl.com and sign up for those sessions, and you'll get Zoom links and notices and stuff. So,
and this is the best way to connect with both of you, right? Is that you-grow-girl.com, right? That's the best way to connect. So we'll make sure that's in the show notes, and I'll be sharing on my social media about this episode and how to contact you and how to follow you and all that good stuff. So hopefully we gain a few more, followers for you guys in this whole movement that you're doing, because I think it's amazing. And I love having you in my life. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us, Jen.
You guys are amazing. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Tuesday. Thank you again for listening to Where Passion Meets Purpose. If you're enjoying this show, please subscribe and download it so you don't miss an episode every single week. And if you think you have a friend who might benefit from listening, please share it with them as well. If you'd like to contact me, you can always reach me through email on my website at jenmentesana.com, and my social media, Jen_Mentesana. And you can DM me there and I'll always respond, and we can connect about topics on the show or anything else you'd like to discuss. Thanks again for tuning in.